MJ?
Yeah.
Yeah. Sociopath. I reckon.
I think that comparison of LeBron James to me is a little bit unfair on him.
I can see why people are turning away from the game.
Yeah. Hello, and welcome back to Two Tickets, Please. This is the podcast where we pretend to know what we're talking about and you pretend to be entertained. Is it working? Well, I hope so. You're here, and that's amazing. I'm Nalin, your host, and I am very excited. Why, you might ask? Well, I'm excited because we have a Two Tickets Please guest debut today. That's right. I'm joined for this episode by a fellow Australian who was either too polite to decline my invitation or is genuinely a fan of the show. So welcome to the episode, Jeremy.
Thank you, darling. Appreciate it.
For the sake of our listeners and our watchers, Jeremy and I know each other because we're teammates on a social volleyball league that we play in together. We've been playing volleyball for several months now. And so it just made sense, natural to bring you on this podcast so we can talk about basketball. So yeah, we're really going to turn up the volume on the NBA in particular in this episode. So Jeremy, we're going to do some heartfelt reflection on our connection to the sport. We're going to do some meditation maybe on the way that the current season's going.
Sure.
And maybe even some visualization on how the league is evolving. What started your passion for basketball?
Well, I used to play with a couple of friends back home, probably in secondary school. And I was terrible, horrible.
Great.
I had a nickname, Halley's Comet, because I would only hit one shot every 1,000 or so shots. So quite rare. I think the person who really got me into it was one of my friends back home. And a big shout out to Jeremy Lin.
Oh, yes.
Massive Asian American name in basketball. And it kind of started my love affair with the Knicks in particular. A lot of terrible years watching them. But yeah, I think representation matters. So it was really good to have someone that looked like me playing at a really high level at arguably the biggest arena in the world.
Yeah. I mean, Jeremy Lin was a big name for me growing up because I grew up in Taiwan, and Jeremy Lin, I believe, is from Taiwan as well. So he was like the poster boy for basketball in many ways for Chinese Americans growing up, because they were like, oh, that's the guy we wanted to be. So yeah, Jeremy Lin. Okay. So, but Knicks, explain why the Knicks?
Well, he was playing on the Knicks at the time, and then he left, and I didn't want to be one of those people to be like, oh, I'm going to follow one player.
Okay. Yeah.
So I don't know, I just became a Knicks fan. And then once he left, the team started to change quite a bit. And there was that season where we lost 65 games or something like that. And I was like, well, if I can go through this heartbreak, I think I'll be okay.
Yes.
I think it makes you a well-rounded person to go through heartache of a multi-billion-dollar franchise. I don't know. Yeah.
That's interesting. It's the first person I've heard say that subscribing to a losing team makes you a whole-rounded person. So
yeah,
that's great.
Yeah, I think most of the teams that I've chosen for different sports, I think have mostly had losing records until semi-recently. So, yeah, I think it makes you more resilient.
Right.
But who knows?
And have you ever considered that you're the reason they're losing? Or
yeah, I have.
Okay.
You know, you get that whole sports fan adage, right?
Yeah.
Of if I watch this game, they'll play terribly, but if I don't watch them, it's like watching like a pot boil, right? I guess you want them to do well, so yeah. It just so happens that they play terribly every time I watch. So
are you superstitious as a fan? Like, do you have certain rituals?
I don't have rituals.
Okay.
Just because it's so hard to watch NBA here in London. I think the only ritual is I just check it in the morning.
Okay.
And usually they win.
Yeah, they're doing better this season, aren't they?
Yeah, they're not doing too badly. I am quite scared of some other teams, but who knows? If they do make the playoffs and if they do make finals, I'm getting a one-way ticket to New York.
Oh, all right. Okay, that's interesting. That'd be really awesome.
Yeah, it'll be an amazing time.
Have you seen them play live before?
I have. So I've seen them play twice.
Okay.
Probably like 4 or 5 years apart. So I watched like a Carmelo Anthony team.
Oh, yeah.
I think play AD, so Anthony Davis when he was on the Pelicans still.
Yeah.
So AD wasn't playing. So no one of note was really on the court.
Okay.
But incredible atmosphere. Like, got to go to Madison Square Garden.
Oh my God.
And then the other time I watched them beat the Nets when the Nets had KD, Kyrie Irving, and James Harden.
Yeah, wow.
And they lost to the Knicks. It was amazing. We were in Brooklyn. I felt great.
Yeah.
I felt great about it.
That would be a
their
great
arena
feeling.
as well. Yeah.
Yeah, wow. Okay, wow. So in the current landscape of things, as a Knicks fan, who's the player that you're like, oh, my hopes are on this person?
Jalen Brunson.
Okay.
Yeah. He's injured at the moment, but I think he is probably my favorite Knick of all time.
Oh, big call.
Yeah.
Wow, okay. Because Knicks have had, wasn't it Patrick Ewing played for the Knicks?
Pat Ewing, John Starks. You had some really great players like Elder Pearl Monroe back in the day. You know, as a relatively new fan. Like maybe 10 or so years. Yeah, you're not familiar with those players and how they played, but I watched Carmelo Anthony, Tyson Chandler, Amari Stoudemire, and then now it's like Karl Anthony Towns, Jalen Brunson, Mikal Bridges. They've sold the whole shop for all these players, and we have a really, really small window. As a sports fan, you just say we because obviously
absolutely,
you're part of the team. Right?
You are part of the team.
Part of the team.
The team doesn't function without you.
That's true. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So I've been watching them for 10 years and they've been terrible, but now they're great and I'm feeling okay about it.
Okay, that's a good place to be. I think having
Better.
tempered expectations
Yeah.
is probably the best place a sports fan can be. Right, where you're not expecting them to win, but you're also quietly hopeful.
Yes. Yeah. So they're sitting at the moment in third in the East. I just think that most of the players are a bit too buddy-buddy with other people in the league. They've all played together in AAU and college. And I'm like, I just need someone to be a bit of a bruiser, like an Isaiah Stewart. The Knicks just signed PJ Tucker.
Right.
And he's notorious for being like a bruiser, being very physical. I just need some New York toughness. Like, isn't that what it's all about?
Yes, I hear you. Like a Patrick Beverley kind of character.
Someone who's not a great person, but it's like you hate to see them.
We'll do the
other
dirty
teams.
work.
But you love them when they're on your team.
I gotcha. Okay, right. Okay, interesting, cool. Knicks fan. I haven't met too many of you, so it's nice. You're a rare breed, which is awesome. Although, of course, they're probably... my understanding of how New Yorkers respond to the two New York teams, is Knicks and Brooklyn. Historically, it was you're a Knicks fan and you're not a Brooklyn fan. Is that sort of? Do you think that's right?
I think that's probably true. Having been to Manhattan a couple of times, it's either New York or nowhere, right?
Okay. Yeah.
So Brooklyn was originally based in New Jersey. So New Jersey Nets. And then they moved to Brooklyn, which I think a lot of people felt was a bit too close to home.
Okay, they felt threatened with territorial sort of thing.
Yeah, and so, you had all these big investors. So Jay-Z, Joe Tsai, who owns Alibaba, I think.
Okay, yeah.
They've put all this money into Brooklyn. They've bought amazing players. But then the Knicks are like, we're blue collar, like homegrown.
Yeah.
Like, we've been here for a really long time.
Yeah,
I think it's hard for another team to come in and usurp that because the whole island is just like Knicks.
Yeah, gotcha. Okay, fair enough. See, for me, it's a very sort of different story because I was very West Coast oriented growing up. So growing up in Taiwan, it was everyone around me was Lakers, and specifically Kobe and Shaq, that era. And that's what I grew up on. So for me, it was like, Kobe and Shaq are the greatest players ever, and Lakers are the greatest team, and we're just going to watch them win, and we always want them to win. So that was sort of the mindset I had as like a 10-year-old, right? But it was really interesting because I went to an American school. Basketball was kind of like in the DNA. Even though like not everyone is a sporty person, it was almost like everyone had some involvement with basketball. Right? So, like, for example, at our school campus, we had 5 basketball courts spread out across it because there was just that many people who were wanting to play at any given time. And it was just a common thing where during recess breaks or during, like, lunch breaks, we eat in like 4.5 minutes and then jump onto the court to play like a game of horse or a game of knockout or 3-on-3 or something like that. So that just became like part of the way we grew up.
Yeah.
And so I think since I've like gotten older, it's changed. My relationship with basketball has changed a little bit because I'm no longer actively playing as much, but I watch a lot more.
Yeah.
Because when you're a kid, like especially when I was in Taiwan, say most of the NBA games would happen when I was at school, so I didn't get to watch them as much. So most of my interaction was, the next day in the newspaper there'd be like, there'd be 2 columns I check in the newspaper.
Yeah.
The TV listings for when the cartoons are on, and then the sports column to see like, how many points did Shaq score yesterday? How many rebounds did he get? What did Kobe score? And that's just what I wanted to know in the little newspaper clipping. So yeah, it's really interesting now that it's so accessible.
Yeah, I think social media has really changed that. I mean, like, you just know so much about these people's lives. Yeah. Like, you get to know them as just personalities and not just as players, which I think is kind of a good thing. But I think back then it felt a little bit more, I guess the discrepancy between you and a sports star is so much bigger because you've seen them as like kind of godly. Kobe, especially, I felt like had this aura around him that was just, I don't know, like you couldn't reach that ascension even if you were amazing as a basketball player.
Yeah.
I think everything that people knew about him, they were like, oh yeah, he's great. Obviously he had a few issues.
Sure.
But I think now that everyone's just so accessible and it's just, I don't know, they seem more like people than anything else.
Yeah.
So,
For sure. I mean, when you can log on to Instagram and see this player's Instagram feed, or maybe, they've got a documentary on them, or maybe they're on a podcast, like, it just feels like, I know what this person is thinking about.
Yeah.
Makes it human. And therefore, if they do something great on the basketball court, I'm probably more wowed because, hold on, they were just human. They do exactly what I do, but they can also do this.
also do that,
Yeah. Have you been following any like basketball podcasts? Because a lot of these players have one. Like LeBron James has got one, right? Called Mind the Game.
Yeah, Mind the Game.
Yeah.
I think that's done now because JJ Redick started with the Lakers.
Yeah, see, now I was going to ask you about this because I was wondering if you came onto the podcast looking for a head coaching job.
I would love one.
Yeah.
I would leave my job in an absolute heartbeat. Don't take that as gospel.
Redacted.
No one from work, watch this, please.
Okay, sure. We're not sharing this with anyone in Jeremy's work,
I would love a basketball job.
Okay.
I came to the sport so late, and I was like, I would love to be a coach, development coach. Just, I don't know, to be around basketball would be really cool.
Yeah.
I don't know whether I could actually be a coach. It's just in my head, I think that.
Okay.
I don't know, I'd probably be okay at X's and O's.
Yeah.
But I feel like I would be all right as a communicator and getting people to play together. But yeah, the technical side of things, I think I'll leave that to other people.
Right. So maybe like a general manager.
Yeah.
A GM.
Yeah, maybe someone in the front office.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Doing all the trades.
Yeah, you get all the blame, but you also get paid well. So it's fair trade-off. That's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I hate to break it to you, but I'm not LeBron James. So this is not the Mind the Game podcast. I think that comparison of LeBron James to me is a little bit unfair on him.
I have seen you try and dunk. That's good.
Yeah. Oh, you've seen me try. I'm really glad you said try.
Big hops for Nalin. Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. For the record, I cannot dunk. Yeah. Okay. But yes, I mean, like Draymond Green's got podcasts.
Yeah.
And, all these players are on their own thing. Do you follow any of them?
Not really. I used to really listen to Zach Lowe's podcast.
Okay.
And then he got fired from ESPN and then he stopped doing the podcast. But I felt like he's a good mix of being an insider and knowing parts of the game, like knowing how some of the X's and O's worked. It's like a pretty easy podcast, like 45 minutes to an hour. You get a person on.
Yeah.
I tried to listen to Windy's, like Windhorse's podcast. He's another ESPN guy.
Okay.
But he does it with Dave McEnemin.
Okay.
And I just find the guests that he brings on to be just insufferable. They're all journalists.
Yeah, right.
And I don't know, they've got a negative aura. It's really weird.
Okay.
It's really strange.
Is this a very Stephen A. Smith kind of like?
It's not to that
demographic?
extent.
Yeah, right.
I feel like Stephen A. Smith is like, I don't know, he's like just one of those pundits, right? He just spews out stuff and
What if it's
says
trending?
something to say. Yeah. I mean, he tried to fight LeBron.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah.
But I feel like there's so much choice now that you can't really go wrong. You can always find that little niche, like, do you want to hear more about players? Do you want to hear more about coaches? Do you want to hear about the stuff they do outside, partying, gambling? What do you want?
Yeah.
It's all available, I think.
Yeah. I was watching, I mean, this was a few years ago, but I watched the Last Dance on Netflix.
Oh, yeah.
You've seen that?
Amazing show.
One of the greatest, I think, basketball documentaries there is. But it makes me really think, imagine if Dennis Rodman had a podcast. That would be loose.
Yeah, it would be insane. I think he's, a crazy person. That whole team is just full of the biggest narcissists. MJ?
Yeah.
Sociopath. I reckon. No.
Okay.
Whoa.
All right.
Okay. He's an amazing basketball player. Probably the greatest of all time, right? Mental. He's a head case. He creates stories in his head in order to play basketball better. I think that's really good dedication. But I think he's a sociopath. In a slight way.
Okay. Yeah, fair enough.
But yeah, that whole team.
Yeah.
Dennis,
Scottie Pippen.
Yes.
It blows my mind to think that Steve Kerr was on that team. Just because, I mean, for the last, decade, essentially, I've actively followed the Golden State Warriors.
Yeah.
Like, I've supported them. They're my sort of number one team at the moment that I support. And I always think of Steve Kerr as, he's the coach. But when I watched that, and I was like, oh my God, no, he was like one of the starting five.
Yeah.
It's crazy how successful this guy is.
Yeah.
Both like as a player and then as a coach.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, it's kind of the reason why I think Steph Curry wanted to play with him, play for him.
Yeah.
Is because he was a 3-point specialist on that Bulls team.
Right, yeah.
So it kind of makes sense. And obviously he's got that championship pedigree. I mean, he won with the Spurs, he won with the Bulls.
Yeah,
so it makes sense that he's been winning with the Warriors.
Yeah.
How are you feeling about the season?
Look, the first half of the season, as a Warriors fan, was a little bit tumultuous, to say the least. I mean, I think we came out of the gates pretty strongly. I think we won the majority of the first 10 games. Yeah. And then there was a dip. There was, players like Kuminga got injured and it just, the balance was just not there, or the synergy was not there. Yeah. But then post mid-season trades, when we've acquired Jimmy Butler, and then we've had another sort of lift in momentum and lift in energy, and I think we're playing better. I personally think, and I'm biased, so I'll admit that, but I personally think the Warriors squad is just so deep this year. I feel like they've got 12 or 13 players who they could field on the court at any time. So I think that is really helpful, but at the same time, what I find a lot that happens with this season's team is that we get a lead, and like the third quarter, we're leading by maybe 10 or 15, and that lead just disappears. And so then the fourth quarter becomes like anyone's game again. Yeah. And I feel like that's been a recurring thing across a lot of the games that I've been watching. But my fingers are crossed because I think we will make the playoffs this year. Yeah. I'm hopeful that we won't have to do the play-in.
I hope not. I mean, Sacramento lost this morning as well, so they're looking terrible. I think the Warriors are looking not too bad. Yeah, I love your team. Yeah. I'm a big fan of Quentin Post, the rookie.
Okay, yeah.
Big man, can shoot the three.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I really don't like Draymond, sorry.
Look, he's one of those players you were talking about earlier. Yeah. He's the player that you need to do all your dirty work on your team, and you love him if he's on your team. But I totally agree. Yeah. Like, the guy is a little bit like, he has anger management issues. Yeah. So I don't know, something needs to be worked on long term there.
But I think your squad, I think Jimmy kind of like brings it all together. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Because you've got like really good 3-point shooters.
Of course.
You've got good defenders. You got like Gary Payton II.
Yes.
Draymond. And then you've got kind of like young people coming up. I really didn't like Podemski.
Oh, okay.
And then this year I was like, oh, he's actually quite crafty. He's quite good.
Yeah.
Really good around the rim. Not a great 3-point shooter, but I'm like...
He's been good off late. These last few games he's been good, but otherwise,
I would say he's like quite exciting.
Yeah, I think so.
Everything's looking up.
Yes, it is, for sure. But yeah, this season's been pretty interesting. I think a lot of drama, both on and off the court. I mean, I remember the start of the season, the biggest story was Bronny and Lebron.
Yeah.
Right? Bronny makes his debut. And I don't know. What did you make of that whole episode?
I think Bronny could be an NBA player.
Oh, so hold on. You're saying he is not of NBA pedigree?
I think he's...
Come out and say it.
LeBron, your son is not an NBA player, but he could be. Don't cancel me. Bronny is, I think, at a really good point between the G League and the NBA.
Okay.
So he's good enough, I think, to put up really good numbers in the G League. I mean, he played, 30 minutes the other day? He had like 39 points. Obviously very good, very crafty. He's clearly learned from his dad. But when he gets on an NBA floor, I think he's like slightly undersized for a guard. I don't think he's strong enough. Like maybe with NBA trainers, like it's gonna be complete. I mean, your dad's LeBron James.
Yeah, you have the best.
I feel like you have the best chance of being an NBA player
for sure.
But I think people have written him off too early. I mean, it's like less than one season. Just let him be.
Yeah.
He doesn't need to be the next LeBron James.
Yeah.
He could be a really good role player, off the bench guy. Like it's like putting pressure, right, on your kids as a parent. I just.
And it's inevitable. Yeah. If you're son of LeBron, that pressure will be there because there'll be so many eyes on you.
Yeah.
Like I feel like I think Scottie Pippen's son is playing as well.
Yeah.
Doesn't have the same kind of attention. Scottie Pippen was a great player, but is not getting the same kind of hype as Bronny James is. So I feel like it's a bit hard done to expect him to be playing as good as his dad, who's got a 20+ year career behind him.
Yes.
And was just a great natural athlete.
Yeah.
And we're trying to fabricate one here again, you know?
I mean, his other son's pretty good as well, Bryce.
Yeah. When is he coming? Do you think like in another 2 years or?
Yeah, I think he's going to go play for USC.
Okay.
Similar to how Bronny went.
Okay, gotcha.
I think there'll be like a one and done.
Yeah.
Maybe drafted by the Lakers.
I mean,
maybe not. Who knows?
If you were Lakers GM, would you draft him in?
No.
Okay.
I don't think so. I think LeBron has probably learned from, maybe having some say in drafting Bronny that, maybe let Bryce do his own thing, become his own player, be in a different market. Let him grow organically.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe like a small market team would be really good for someone like that. Maybe like a Hornets.
Hornets.
Yeah. It's always the Hornets.
Yeah.
It's always the Hornets.
I mean, as long as it's not, honestly, the team that I wouldn't want any, like if I was drafted, let's say, okay, this is a hypothetical scenario where I am now the number one pick in the draft, okay? And I'm praying that I get the right team.
Yeah.
The team that I don't want to go to is the Wizards. I don't know why. I just don't want to go to the Wizards.
I'm going to respectfully disagree.
Okay, tell me.
I have strong thoughts about this.
Tell me, yeah.
Okay, the Wizards. Okay, first of all, Washington, D.C., very cool place. Probably not great at the moment.
Sure.
But if you look at it objectively, like the National Mall, great, amazing. You like democracy? Kind of, not really. If you like it,
if you're on the right side of democracy.
You're on the right side of democracy. I think it's such a cool place to be. It's honestly, I think parts of it are really, really nice. Like any part of America, I think that's good and bad.
Yeah.
But I think the Wizards at the moment, having traded like Kyle Kuzma, I think they're actually looking really good.
Who did they get in exchange?
So they got Chris Middleton
from the
Bucks. Yeah. And then they got Marcus Smart from the Grizzlies, I think.
Oh, was he with Grizzlies? Sorry.
Yeah. Okay. So you have really good vets. And then you have really good I think like transitional players, so like Jordan Poole. I think that their future is looking a lot better.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where are they at the moment in the standings?
Last.
That's why I don't want to be too often with those.
It's a little bit of hope. Yeah.
Yeah. The other sort of major thing,
Yeah.
I think the trade that sort of blew open
Yeah.
the entire season was Luka for AD. Right? Luka traded from the Mavericks to the Lakers, and in exchange for AD and probably some other little... I can't remember who else went in that trade, but I mean, do you think that's a good move for the Lakers?
Yeah. You get a generational player.
I think so.
25 years
Right?
old.
I think some of the commentary around it was that it kind of elongates LeBron James's career.
Yeah.
Because he no longer has to be the best player on the team, right? Luka can do a lot of the facilitation, and LeBron can be more of a role player. He's obviously there as like, okay, Luka's out, LeBron jump in. But yeah, I think it makes his job a little bit easier. And yeah, I mean, Luka, who doesn't want Luka?
Yeah, who doesn't want it? Yeah.
Except for Mavericks.
Apparently.
Who have, by the way, just sort of fallen apart, right? Since that.
I mean, they won this morning against the Bulls, and everyone's like, yeah, playoff push. I'm like, why? Just let it die. Just let it go.
I mean, but there, hold on. Do you remember this happened? Was it 2 seasons ago? It was, I think, the last game of the season, and Mavericks were accused of deliberately tossing the game. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I think so.
So it was something about like if they lost that game, they would have had a higher round pick or something at some point. And so to secure the future, they purposely didn't win.
I think so. I think I remember that slightly. Or there's something to do with like playoff seeding. Oh, I can't remember. I feel like...
Well, no, I don't think they made the playoffs that year. It was
2 years ago. Oh, yeah.
2 seasons, I think so. And so like, I know since then the management's changed and like someone like Mark Cuban sold off his share, and I don't know what the thinking is now, but the fact that all you're left with is Klay Thompson because Kyrie's not there, AD's not there, Luka's gone. You're kind of like, well, what's happening? Yeah,
and then especially with like a couple of weeks left of the season, and then AD was like, I want to come back. I'm like, why? I mean, take care of yourself. You're like older than 30. You're still a really great player. Don't get me wrong, like what people are saying about AD, the slandering of his name, like he's still a really good offensive and defensive player. But he's like 7 years older. Like what are you doing? You're like shortening your window. Yeah. And I feel like it's been this collective gaslighting from the Mavs front office that they're like, oh yeah, we loved AD. You know, we see this as our chance to get a championship.
Yeah, right.
And I'm like, yeah, you had Luka Doncic, who's been a pro for 11 years.
And they made the finals.
Yeah.
Like, you're trading away the guy who took you to the finals. It doesn't make sense. I think that was a business decision and not a sports decision.
Yes.
So I think it was something about trying to evaluate the company, essentially, at a certain price to sell it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it blows my mind as an NBA fan going, why would anyone give that up? But as a, after Warriors, I follow Lakers, and as a Lakers fan, great. Welcome.
Amazing.
Welcome to the city of Los Angeles, and do your thing.
I mean, like, he's playing great at the moment. What was it this morning? So he, LeBron James, and Austin Reeves, I think all scored 25 points.
Okay, right.
Good offensive load, I guess. Good spread of, I don't know, handling the ball respectively, I guess. Lucas looked okay, but I think once they get a center, I think Jackson Hayes.
Good for offense. I mean, he's good for the toss him up and he'll spike it down as a dunk. But I don't know about defensively.
Like a lob threat, I guess.
That's it.
But you need someone who can, I don't know, maybe they get someone from the Mavs, like Daniel Gafford. Or
You're proposing another trade between Lakers
I'm proposing that the Mavs just give all of their players to the Lakers.
Okay.
And just let the Mavs die. Just let them die. You'll always have the 2011 finals with Dirk. You'll always have that championship. Dirk will go down as an absolute champion.
Yeah.
And just let it die. It's fine. multi-billion-dollar decision, but
Yeah, you're just coming in with like a scalpel.
Yeah.
You're like, you're out. No, I mean, look, I think they hopefully are in a rebuilding phase.
Yeah.
They'll come back, I hope. And I mean, you just want to see good teams, right? Like, I don't really want to go into any game and be like, oh, this team is so bad.
Yeah.
You want to see a good game of basketball.
Yeah, absolutely.
Speaking of, though, currently there's been this ongoing discourse around the NBA. You might have seen it online as well, where people are saying the NBA is not the same anymore.
Yeah.
Right? They're sort of citing viewership, like the drop in viewership.
Yeah.
And like maybe that's been over the past 3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
That's been declining. And the NBA has obviously taken measures, right? There are things like the in-season cup, which was introduced a few years ago, as sort of like an effort to try and build up more attention and excitement in the middle of the season, which can otherwise get really boring. What do you make of it? Like, do you think it has changed the game? Do you think the NBA is no longer as fun to watch?
I would probably say so. If you've ever read that book there's an NBA analyst called Kirk Goldsberry. He wrote a book called The Art of Basketball, and it essentially talks about the distribution of shots taken now in the NBA. So it's like a 3-point shot versus a 2-point shot, and what percentage teams usually take, and how much they're taking right now versus way back in the day when they didn't have a 3-point line. Are people posting up more? No, there's a lot of like run and gun kind of shoot, a couple of seconds into the shot clock. A lot of cuts, pick and pops for more like 3-point shooters. And I think it has changed the game. I still find it exciting just as a general basketball fan, because to me it's still like I still can't do that. I still enjoy seeing that, I guess, that prowess. But I would say it has changed. I really do like seeing people post up. Like one of my favorite players is Tim Duncan.
Oh yeah.
I love a bank shot.
Yeah.
Love a bank shot.
Just the sky, like a hook. Yeah.
Like a baby hook or a sky hook. It's just so much craftier and more creative.
Yeah.
And it's just like a lot more elegant to watch, I guess. A 3-point shot is, I don't know, you could get a really bad 3-point shooter and it might clank 10 times.
Sure.
And that person will keep shooting. And I think it has changed. But I'm still enjoying it though. I feel like the storylines and all the stuff that we talked about on social media has kind of made it more personal, more exciting. But I can see why people are turning away from the game. Yeah.
I mean, I think and I would obviously attribute a lot of this to Steph Curry.
Yeah.
He has quite literally changed the way the game is played. With his success as a 3-point shooter. I do think that it's just a natural evolution of the sport. Right? When you have a sport where if you shoot behind this line, you get 3 points. That's obviously an incentive to shoot behind that line. Because otherwise you get 2. So I think like if tomorrow they instituted a new line where you get 4 points, more people will take 4-point shots. It's just a natural thing, right? I think that there's this sort of like maybe a romanticized idea, or this maybe old school affection for like that post up sort of style of play. I'm thinking back to Kobe posting up and turning around a fadeaway jumper. That kind of stuff. Like the mid-range shot has basically died. Right? Because now you just see either layup stunks or 3-pointers. And I get why some people have that view. Equally, I think, like you said, the game is changing. It's not necessarily bad. And I think it depends on what perspective one wants to take with it. I think it's still a really exciting game because now the league will have to innovate in some way. Like if you've got everyone coming out and taking a 3, and you've got like all 5 players on the court capable of hitting a 3, the game has got to change again, and it will in some way. Maybe they'll discover that defenses get better at protecting the 3. So now the mid-range or now the driving to the post will become more prominent again, potentially. I see that happening. The one thing I don't want to happen is for them to do the thing that they do in the Celebrity All-Star game, which is add the 4-point shot, which is just like one step behind the line. And I'm like, most players can already do that. If you incentivize them with an additional point, it's going to be worse.
there'll be 24 seconds on the shot clock. They'll take one step inside the halfway line and they'll jack up a shot.
Yeah. Yeah. And then it'll be half court, 6 points for half court.
Point, yeah. It'll be ridiculous. So
yeah.
I don't know what they'll do, but I'm excited to see. I really do want that post up, bang on the inside kind of play to come back.
Yeah.
I think that's, as I said, super crafty, super fun.
Yeah.
I mean, I play like that in my normal life.
Okay.
So
gotcha.
I feel like seeing those types of moves is quite transitive, I guess, to my own game.
Yeah.
A lot of kids that I see at the moment, because I used to coach back at home.
Oh, okay. So hold on, you are a coach.
I was not qualified.
Sure.
Because all I did was watch and I never played. And then I coached as a side gig when I started university.
Okay.
And one of the other coaches called me out on it. And I was like, yeah, that's fair because I've never played basketball before.
What? How did you get that job?
A friend referred me because she knew I was getting really into basketball and I was playing kind of in my own time. But yeah. So it was my first foray into being incompetent.
So would you rather be a player, a coach, or a ref?
Coach.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I'm not good enough to be a player. And I don't think I could handle the stress of being a ref.
I think that's the same thing. I feel like reffing is super stressful, especially in basketball.
Yeah.
There's just so many calls you have to sort of be mindful of.
Yeah. I know the game's so fast. Right? And you've only got what? You've got a crew chief and then you have like 2 other refs in court. How are you possibly supposed to pick up on every single call? And players complain. And obviously these players are like from 6 foot to 7 foot, whatever it is.
Yeah,
right?
so you're always looking up.
And so they're complaining in your face. And you're just like, if you took a swing at me, I'm done. That's it. It's over. If I make a bad call, like that's on me and then I'll get
reprimanded later.
Not just from the league, but from the fans,
trolled by
social media. All the players, coaches will complain when they do their like post-game analysis, whatever it is. I just couldn't handle that. I mean, it's like imagine somebody coming to your job and being like, "Oh, you stuffed up there." Also there.
Yes.
And So
I feel like of the 3, I would most likely be a player. Because I don't think I have the smarts to do anything else. But that said, I find it really hard to be a player because there's so much of the game that I still have yet to understand. Like, it's for people who don't really watch basketball, perhaps they're not aware of how much strategy actually goes into setting up every single formation and play. It's probably similar to maybe like American football in that way, right? Where It seems like you've just got a line of people and they're all running. But no, there's a whole thought process behind why this person's here and considering matchups, considering swaps and it's actually like chess.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. And people don't think that because the game's so fast, a lot of transition buckets, that they're not setting up for a particular type of shot, but they are. I feel like players are always thinking about the player who's coming down the floor. If they're handling the ball, are they going to pull up from 3? Are they going to try to get to the basket? Are they going to try and kick it out, pass it to someone else? Are they an assist guy? Are they a rebound guy? Are they stronger than me? Are they less strong than me? Like there's so many elements, and I think people think that it's a lot simpler than it actually is. That said, though, I feel like when I play basketball, you're not really thinking, you're just kind of doing. I feel like you get good instinctual skills rather than like planned skills. Do you know what I mean?
Sure.
So you're always reading and reacting.
Do you think refs are calling more or less now than they used to? They're calling
absolutely
more?
Calling more. I don't know, there's lots of compilations on YouTube and stuff of like, I mean, like I said just before, I've got all my hopes pinned on Jalen Brunson. Loves to foul bait. Loves a foul bait.
Yes.
And I can see why that's part of the game. I mean, MVP, leader, I guess, at the moment, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Also a foul baiter, kind of.
He
loves a kick out. You know, puts his leg out, loves to grab the opponent.
Yeah.
But I think it's part of the game. I think it's really unfortunate. But yeah.
But do you think that other leagues, say like FIBA, whenever they've got like World Cups, or even in the Olympics, like they're not calling these. This is not called there.
Yeah.
So you can only really get away with it in the NBA.
NBA, yeah. So I find like EuroLeague is really, really physical. Mm-hmm. If you watch a lot of the, I don't know, like Barcelona or Real Madrid, you know, they have ex-NBA players. Some of them can't really adjust.
Yeah.
So you have like really, really good NBA players who didn't flop in the NBA and they go over the EuroLeague. For example, Jabari Parker, who's playing for Barcelona at the moment.
Okay.
I think he is. But I think he's quite a physical player. He loves to, you know, lay up, get inside, dunks. And I feel like, you know, you just can't do that. You can't like put an elbow up or like, you know, get into someone's chest as much because you might foul them. I don't know. FIBA, I think, is a lot more physical. It's a lot harder to get baskets, but it makes it like tactically different.
Sure.
So, yeah.
Is it more thrilling to watch? Like, do you think NBA should? I mean, a lot of the criticism is, oh, it's too soft.
Yeah.
Do you think NBA needs to be harder?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think they need to swallow their whistle a bit. The refs. Yeah.
I think there's a reason behind it, though. So my take on it is the reason that it's soft is because players now are they don't want to be injured. They don't want to get hit and then be out of the league for a long time. Players are brands, right?
Yeah.
There's a lot of money riding on a player playing in that game. So how do we lower the risk of their injury? Well, we have to make the calls. We have to make it a bit softer, right? Because now, like what happened, like we were talking about earlier, the way we connect to the NBA is a lot of it is through the players. Yeah. So everyone's got their own line of shoes, or line of clothing, or they've got like their social media accounts. They're doing advertising for certain brands. Like they in itself are a commercial entity.
Yeah.
That we need to protect that because that keeps the NBA alive.
Yeah.
And so therefore there's this sort of like flow-on effect to the game where, we've got to make it a bit easier so these players continue to play. Because imagine the ratings if you've got a Lakers versus Warriors game, but LeBron's injured and Steph is injured. Yeah. You know, then it's like, well, who's watching?
Yeah, that's
right.
Fair.
You can't have a Christmas Day game and then these players not playing there.
Yeah,
so
that's true.
You've kind of it's almost like you've got to make sure your talent is there.
As I said before, like I think the league will do something about it. I think they tried doing something like transition take fouls. So like,
what's that?
So people crossing over, let's say they have a breakaway dunk.
Yeah. But
somebody fouls them on the way. So you're stopping the passage of play essentially. So I think they now don't allow that. So I think they'll do something about flopping.
Okay. They tried to.
Yeah, they tried, but I think it's not working out that well.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, you have such imperative players like James Harden, who still plays like that. He's like 33, 34. He still plays like that.
Yeah.
I'm just like, if you're going to reward it,
he's going
to keep playing it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Why wouldn't you?
Yeah. Who knows?
Yeah.
I hope they fix it.
Yeah. Now, one thing I've been thinking about, since we've been talking about all these teams and, we've talked about Warriors and Knicks and whatnot. This is a thought I've had for a long time and I want to get your thoughts on this. How do you name a team? Right?
Okay.
So I mean, I was looking at the list of the NBA teams that we've got. And I was like, okay, if I was creating a sports team, I'd want to name the team so it sounds like, okay, I've got to be fearful. I'm going to be intimidated. Like this is a strong group of individuals, and they're gonna play really well. But then I look at the team names. I'm like Philadelphia 76ers. Like, should I be afraid of people who were born in 1976? Like, what's going on? Why am I afraid of 49-year-olds?
I feel like there's so much history to it.
Okay.
So 76ers is like 1776. So Declaration of Independence. Signed in Philadelphia, and I'm like, yeah, great.
So we're playing with founding fathers.
We're playing a bunch of old white men. That's fine.
Which is probably not what their team is. But sure.
Exactly. I was telling my partner about this.
Yeah.
So I love the Knicks, obviously.
Yeah. What does that mean? What does Knicks mean?
Knicks stands for knickerbockers. They are a type of pant.
I was going to say it sounds like underwear.
Pants.
Sounds like underwear.
Which is ridiculous, right? So they're named after these like quite wide-legged pants that you like tucked into your boot, but in like the 1800s, I think, or like early 1900s.
Yeah.
They're named after pants, which is ridiculous. And like
the NBA is only like 80 years old, by the way.
yeah, I know.
I don't know.
I don't know where all this history came. But obviously, like America,
they're
fully into their history.
Yes.
You know, I feel like just because lots of teams have moved and changed, the names don't make sense.
Yeah.
So, like for example, the Lakers.
Yeah.
There's no lakes in LA.
Yeah.
They originally,
Isn't there? Are there like City of Lakes is what it's meant to be?
yes, but it's for Minnesota, for Minneapolis.
Oh.
So there used to be the Minneapolis Lakers. Then they moved to LA.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
And then Minneapolis were like, oh, we'll have a team.
Yeah.
The Timberwolves, which
That's
makes
a good
sense.
name. That's a good name.
Great
Timberwolves
name.
I can get behind.
Amazing name.
Yes.
But then you have the Utah Jazz. Who the hell is going to Utah for jazz? And the reason is because the Memphis Grizzlies used to be the Memphis Jazz. And they moved to Utah and they kept the name thinking, oh, great, people are going to come here.
Gotcha.
Lots of Mormons. Jazz, yeah.
Okay.
So
There's more than meets the eye here.
yeah, it's more than meets the eye.
Okay, can you justify the Los Angeles Clippers? People get their hair cut.
I originally thought because the Clippers... I didn't know much about the Clippers beforehand. So when I was a relatively new fan, I thought because they were bought by Steve Ballmer, who is, I think, probably former CEO of Microsoft.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. So, obviously lots of money. I thought they were called the Clippers because on Microsoft Word, there's...
The paperclip.
Yeah, Clippy, the paperclip. And I'm like, that is a horrible name. But no, a clipper is a ship.
Oh, it's a ship.
It's a ship. Yeah.
Right.
So I think they had to do, something to do with the harbor in LA.
This is a terrible team.
I don't know.
Yeah. I think Timberwolves, good name.
Yeah, Timberwolves.
Warriors, good name.
Great name.
Any other ones that you'd be like, yeah, that's a good name?
Kings.
Okay, yes.
Kings is a good name.
Kings.
Cavaliers, I really like.
Yeah, sure.
Celtics. That's like pretty synonymous.
I'm not afraid of leprechauns too much.
But
especially in a sport like basketball.
Yeah. I don't know.
Okay.
The heat, maybe?
Yeah, I'm scared of temperature.
I'm scared of
Global
fire.
warming.
I'm scared of fire. Yeah.
So if you had to name your team, okay, you've got a new franchise coming into the NBA.
Yeah.
Right? The Jeremy something.
Yeah.
What is your team name?
I've thought about this a lot.
Okay.
A lot.
Yes.
Okay.
It better be good then.
Yeah.
The expectations are high. Yep.
Okay, so I'm going to call my team the Stampede. So the mascot is going to be an elephant. Big, strong.
Okay.
It fits a lot of the other teams. You know, they've got animals and stuff like that.
Yes,
Bears,
yes.
grizzlies, whatever it is. But it's not so obvious. Stampede. And it's quite scary.
What's plural for stampede?
Stampede, I think.
So we have one stampede and multiple
stampede. Yeah, multiple stampedes. Stampedes? I don't know.
It's not like stampeders.
Yeah, but the other thing I'm thinking of is you could get really, really good endorsement deals. I feel like an elephant is easy to,
right.
endorse.
Right.
Like the WWF, like the World Wildlife Fund.
Yes. Yeah. Isn't that a panda?
Yeah, but you know what I mean? Like they could support elephants.
So you're looking for very sort of environmental, eco-friendly, environmentally conscious
which is probably
brands.
not the place for it for a big basketball team with they probably need massive infrastructure, multi-billion-dollar arenas.
It sounds like you've got a mascot idea.
I started off with a mascot idea. And
Jeremy the elephant, is that what's happening?
The revenue from selling lots of little plushes of elephants, I think.
Right, okay. So you're going to claim all elephant plush toys as part of your merchandise?
Yeah, and trademark it.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. I think Disney might have a word with you about that. I'm sure Disney has an elephant character, but... Okay, Jeremy Stampede.
Stampede,
All right, we'll look out for that team.
Yeah. It's not great.
You thought about it for a long time.
I did think
and that's the best
but
you came up with.
I
So
came
we'll
to
honor
a
you.
decision just because there were lots of different things. I feel like, I don't know, I've played 2K as well. You know,
Okay,
you do your My Team and you call them something weird.
Yeah.
I don't know, Stampede sounds good to me.
Stampede?
Yeah.
Well, Stampede, we'll take it. All right, fair enough.
I mean, the New Jersey Nets originally were going to be called the New Jersey Swamp Dragons. That is a true fact.
It's not too bad. Swamp Dragons. Swamp is a bit, but
Okay,
Dragons
yeah.
sounds cool. Because you'd probably shorten it.
Yeah.
Like, in colloquial
the Dragons,
terms.
yeah.
Yeah, the Dragons. Like the Wolves instead of Timberwolves, that kind of thing.
But Swamp Dragons? For New Jersey?
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe they're local species to the area.
Probably. Yeah.
All right. Okay.
But I think that's a terrible name. Would have been really good though. The merch would have been popping. Oh, maybe that's what they were thinking of.
Do you reckon?
Yeah.
Merch. So we got to think not about the basketball team, but about the merch.
Yes, you got to think about the revenue.
I've got one.
Yeah, go on.
All right. I've thought about this not a lot.
But it's gonna be better than mine. I can feel it. Yeah.
Look, okay. Hear me out, right? So mine is the Nalin GPTs. Because I think the most fearful thing in today's world is a GPT.
Oh my god.
Right?
You just call it Skynet. Just
No, that's no. This is completely original.
okay. Yeah.
The GPTs, right?
Yeah.
So we're already in everyone's feeds.
Yeah.
Right? Marketing becomes super easy.
Yeah.
Right? 'Cause
Yeah.
if you get OpenAI to back you,
Uh-huh.
problem solved. I don't even need to play basketball. I will win. I don't even need to have real players. I can have powered robots. So that's my 21st century take on an NBA.
I like
team.
it. Yeah.
GPTs.
Who would sponsor your team?
Look, I'm maybe
Copilot?
some sorry.
Copilot?
Copilot? Why not? Maybe
He's got
some
money.
old Microsoft founder
Yeah.
who's got money to.
He'll
spend.
buy the GPTs.
Yeah. We'll just rebrand the Clippers
Yeah.
to the LA GPTs.
Yeah.
Have you watched? I'm sure you have. I'm sure you've seen many basketball films. Do you have a favorite?
Coach Carter.
Let's go.
My man.
Let's go.
Yeah.
That is my number one basketball film of all time.
Amazing.
Easily
Yeah.
the best. Yeah. Fair enough.
Such a great Samuel L. Jackson.
I think so.
Yeah.
And nothing comes close to it. Like,
Really? Yeah.
I think the reason it's so good is because, yes, basketball is a huge part of the film, but it's more than just about basketball.
Yeah.
And it's like using that as a conduit to tell the story. Brilliant. The characterization. There's obviously the what do you fear? That whole thing. Beautiful.
Yeah.
What else?
I recently watched that Spike Lee movie.
Which one?
He Got Game.
Oh, okay. I haven't
So,
seen that. Yeah, right.
Denzel Washington
Oh.
is a recently incarcerated father of a man named Jesus Shuttlesworth, who's played by Ray Allen, which is a bit random.
Interesting.
Ray's an okay actor, actually.
Okay.
I feel like I've seen a lot of NBA players talk about it just because Spike Lee.
Yeah. Yeah.
Black director, really good author. I thought it was a good movie. I thought there could have been a bit more, but cinematography was amazing.
Yeah.
Music was amazing. Really went through the life of, a college athlete. I think it was quite good. I don't know what else I've watched recently. Air Bud, which is a bit random.
Bud.
Yeah.
Which one's Air Bud?
It's the one with the golden retrievers, plays basketball.
Ooh, that sounds like a really good... Is it like a comedy or...
Yeah.
Like a little family
think
sort of
it's-
drama thing?
I'm pretty sure it's a classic.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah,
Right.
Really, really good.
Yeah, right.
I feel like there's so many shows out at the moment.
Oh, yeah.
I think I just watched that Mindy Kaling show,
Running Point. Yeah, I watched it too. Yeah.
Obviously, parts of it are like, this is like pretty standard story structure. But I thought, it got more people into maybe reading up on the Lakers and Jeannie Buss and the Buss family, just because all that family dynamic is played out fictionally.
Right.
I guess.
Right. Yeah.
In a very, very easy comedy.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, we talked about the Michael Jordan.
The Last Dance. There was Court of Gold.
Court of Gold was good.
That was very good. Even though I had watched the Olympics, it was still nice to watch that. And then there was Starting Five.
Starting Five's good.
Which is it was good. Like it was nice to get a glimpse into players like Anthony Edwards and stuff like that. I think there's going to be another season next year. Starting Five with 5 new players. Yeah. Apparently, rumor has it there will be a Kobe documentary. Oh. And if that happens, I am like so excited because that would be one thing I'd love to watch. I think what he represents to me as like in terms of like his whole mantra about working hard, like that Mamba mentality, like that thing is super motivational. So I'd love to watch that if that ever comes out.
Is he your personal GOAT?
I think so. Yeah. I think he is. You know, probably closely followed by Steph in a second. But yeah, I think so. I think the way he, even in some seasons, really just carried the team. Yeah. I know there's a lot of things about how he hogged the ball. And I hear that. Yeah. But I think when you know about him as a person, like as his work ethic, his attitude, like it is really, I think in me anyways, it instills a lot of like, you've just got to put in the effort. You just got to work hard. Like you got to get to the gym early and work 2 hours longer than everyone else. Like, and he did it. You know, I think that's the best thing. Like everyone can talk about it, but he actually did it, and I think that's pretty fascinating. So what about you?
It'd be Tim Duncan.
Okay.
Very boring answer.
No, that's a good answer.
5 championships, Rookie of the Year, MVP. Maybe?
I think so. I mean, I remember that era, the Shaq and Kobe era. Yeah. Spurs were like the team, right? Tim Duncan, Ginobili, Tony Parker, like what a team, what a great team,
I think maybe like 2014 is when I was like obsessed with watching every game. Yeah. And that 2014 run from the Spurs was just amazing. Like they obviously lost to the Heat. And then as Australians, we were really proud of Aaron Baines, Paddy Mills, who were part of that 2014 team. But then you have really, really cool players. So I loved that team. Yeah. And I love the Spurs. Yeah.
Absolutely. They were a solid team. And even now, I mean, with Wemby, I don't know, maybe there's a chance that they can build a good team around him. Yeah. It's still, I think, a little way off, but I think he's very, very talented. I think what he brings to the team is phenomenal. So if they can build a good support, they could make a really good team. Yeah. Now, we've spoken a lot about the NBA and like how it's changing and what they've tried to do to improve viewership. Essentially, obviously the in-season cup, but also like, I don't know, they've experimented with the All-Star weekend, the All-Star games, maybe without a lot of success yet. If you were Adam Silver, what's one change you would want to see in the NBA?
Ooh, that's a good question. I would love less timeouts.
Dude, that is the same answer I have. 100%.
I can't stand it. I'm like, there's so many timeouts.
Right.
Just 20-second timeout. Do I want a full timeout for a minute? No.
Yeah, exactly.
As someone watching, like you don't want to sit there and just wait. I'm just like, I mean, like you've got to go through tactical stuff. I understand. Yeah. But why don't you just make all timeouts like 30 seconds rather than having some be 20 seconds and then some be a minute? Yeah.
And 30 seconds is never really 30 seconds. Yeah. You know, especially in the fourth quarter, it feels like the game just slows down so much. Like in the last minute, you're just like stopping. And I think that's where you lose a viewer. Yeah. So I 100% agree. Less timeouts is the way to go. Less timeouts.
Yeah. I have looked at this topic on Reddit and somebody did suggest that you're supposed, like one of their suggestions was to have a civilian in the team on the court at all times. One person randomly from that city and 4 professional players just to see how it would work out.
Okay. Sounds like an all-star weekend.
Yeah. Sounds like a wacky Disney movie type thing.
Yes.
I don't think people would I would tune in for the first couple of games just to see how that person would do.
Yeah. It sounds like the plot of Space Jam 3.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right, yeah. So less timeouts and I'm not sure about the civilian, but maybe if that happens, I'll watch it.
It's all good.
Look, this has been awesome because like I've enjoyed so much just talking about the NBA with someone who's as passionate as me about it. And Yeah, thank you, Jeremy.
No,
thank
thank
you for being on the podcast. And thank you, of course, to everyone for watching and listening. And yeah, we'd love to hear your insights. Do you have any sort of hot takes about what the NBA should do to really change the game and make it more viewer friendly? Drop it in the comments below. Of course, hit like, share the video so more people can join in on the chat, and subscribe because it's the right thing to do and it's free. So take it up. Jeremy, anything you want to say to all of the 100,000 people watching?
No, but actually I do.
Yes.
Go Knicks.
We're gonna cut that out.
No,
maybe.
don't cut that out.
Go Warriors! All right, I'm gonna say it for the record just to equal it. But yeah, thanks again, Jeremy.
No, thank you. Appreciate
And
it.
we'll sign off there, and we'll see you guys in the next episode. Bye!